Today, the hype train has been derailed. Despain has lost. Also, Derrick Lewis puts on a post-fight celebration that is worthy of a stack of ones and making it rain. And Joaquin Buckley, did he have possibly the worst call-out after a fight that we've ever seen? All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. Right back with it. It's your boy Matt. We get ready to break down UFC St. Louis that went down last Saturday night. Where in the main event, Derrick Lewis, the Black Beast, goes out there and he defeats Rodrigo Nascimento. I just wanted to make sure I had his first name correct. Nevertheless, Derrick Lewis goes out there and does work against Nascimento. Or did he? So, when I'm looking at this fight, man, pretty much, Derrick Lewis landed, a few strikes here and there. But for the most part, Nascimento was not, I wouldn't say dominating, but he was pretty close to dominating Derrick Lewis. He was taking him down on the ground. He was working over his body, working him over with some elbows, some solid short ground shots. It looked like to me Derrick Lewis was able to throw a few punches, land a little bit of offense while standing, but then he would get fatigued. And he would essentially either move Nascimento up against the wall of the cage, or he would allow Nascimento to move him up against the wall of the cage, which is a no-no against a fighter like Nascimento. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of rhymed. Nevertheless, bro, Derrick Lewis then does Derrick Lewis things, where Nascimento, for the most part, is pretty much in control of this fight, and then Derrick Lewis uncorks a bomb, drops him on the ground, gets on top of him, throws a few ground shots, puts him out, or actually stands over him, I should say, throws a few shots while he's on the ground, puts him out, referee stops the fight, and then afterwards, it was a post-fight celebration worthy of Stormy Daniels. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about get the ones out and let them fly. Let them fly. We making it rain up in this piece. Derrick Lewis takes off his shorts. He starts fanning them over Nascimento. They probably had a whiff. Might have had a stench. But it didn't stop there. Derrick Lewis is kind of celebrating. He's kind of dancing. He then drops down on the ground, reaches in his shorts, or what is remaining, pretty much his underwear, his boxers almost. Reaches down into his underwear, pulls out his cup, stands up, throws it out in the audience. Somebody on press row catches it, which I don't even know why you would catch it. As soon as he threw it, I would have dodged that mofo just like the Matrix. Just cup would have went flying. Like, bro, I don't even know why this homie caught it. Like, why did you catch it, bro? Like, when somebody throws something at you, you don't have to catch it. There's no way I would have caught Derrick Lewis' cup, is all I'm saying. This nasty, sweaty cup that's been around his sweaty balls, and this man catches it, and then kind of tried to downplay it after he caught it, like trying to act like he wasn't excited to catch it. Bro, get out of here. Then Derrick Lewis proceeds to continue dancing, turn around, look at the crowd, and then pull his shorts down and moon the crowd. I mean, this wasn't the best UFC card, but it was worth it just to see Derrick Lewis' post-fight celebration. Nevertheless, Derrick Lewis goes out there, gets a big win. Post-fight speech. He's talking about, these youngsters are a little bit tougher on me. I'm getting a little bit old out here. I'm tired. Saying all this stuff, talking to Michael Bisping about the first rounds on him. Bisping owed him some drinks. And so, it was a feel-good time. It was a fun moment. Derrick Lewis goes out there, knocks out Nascimento. So that was cool to see. But it is worth noting, Nascimento was beating him every round of this fight until he got knocked out. Anyway, let's move on. Co-main event. Joaquin Buckley steps in there with Ruzabayev. Bro, shout out to Joaquin Buckley. He went out there. I did not know that he could put on this style of a fight, so to speak. I knew he was a good wrestler, but I didn't know that literally he would run through dudes that are bigger than him like a Mack truck and take them down. Like Joaquin Buckley figured out Ruzabayev's game plan early on, how Ruzabayev kept trying to time Buckley with that extended right hand, and outside of that had a few teep kicks, but Ruzabayev didn't have a ton of offense that he was trying to implement, and Joaquin Buckley read it, and he did his thing, man. He stayed, he had good sticking shots, he would move, and then he would drop and go ahead and go for that solid takedown and take homie down. And it was definitely, it wasn't the most action-packed fight, so to speak. It had its moments where it was really action-packed, but for the most part, you're just kind of watching Buckley implement his offense. Now, every now and then, Ruzabayev would catch Buckley with some devastating knees as he was coming in for the takedown. As he was taking his shot, he would catch him with a knee. Buckley was eating those all day. What a chin on Buckley. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. He goes out there, he gets the win. He was over with the St. Louis crowd big time. They were all cheering for him. There were multiple Buckley chants throughout the fight. And then at the end, he goes on this rant. The first part of his post-fight speech was perfect. He talked about growing up there. He talked about his grandmother. His grandmother has some sort of an illness, and she keeps on fighting, keeps going. It was an emotional moment. He talked about St. Louis raised him. He made all of these references to different places around, around St. Louis. I mean, it was very cool to see. With all of that being said, he lured everybody in, had everybody cheering for him. It was a feel-good moment. When it's time for him to make his call out, of all people, he calls out Conor McGregor. And once again, as I made in the preview to this card, as I talked about in my preview video to this card, when I talked about Joaquin Buckley and his mistakes, he did it again. I talked about his mistakes with Ariel Helwani, his mistakes of calling Dana White out at the press conference trying to be the main event, and he does it again. Of all people to call out, he should have never have called out Conor McGregor. While he will get a little bit of notice, for mentioning Conor McGregor's name, that there is a little bit of cachet, so to speak. There's a little bit of notice that comes along with that, but most of the notice is going to be everyone saying, what is wrong with Joaquin Buckley and why did he call out Conor McGregor? It's not going to be, Joaquin Buckley called out Conor McGregor. He's shooting for the stars. He's going to go for it. Or, I can't believe, Joaquin Buckley called out Conor McGregor. What a stud. You know what I'm saying? That's not what was going to happen. What was going to happen is this man is a fool. This man is an idiot. Why did you call out Conor McGregor? Look, after seeing that performance, Conor not notoriously, pun intended, known for doing super well against wrestlers, so to speak. He's not getting ready going there with a powerhouse like Joaquin Buckley, especially now that he lost a lot of bit of that fluff weight that he put on when he was making the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, Roadhouse. He's not getting ready going there so you can keep blast doubling him to the mat and beating his brains out. Conor McGregor's not going to do that. He is not going to fight Joaquin Buckley. As of the time that I'm making this video, I'll have to check again. I haven't seen where Conor McGregor has even mentioned Joaquin Buckley or acknowledged him. Now, if he has, You all let me know in the comments, but I don't believe he has thus far. And it's like, why would you waste your call out? Why would you waste this feel good moment that you're having with your fans in St. Louis on Conor McGregor? He's not going to fight you, bro. He's just not. After he fights Chandler, which is no guarantee he's going to beat Chandler, but let's just say he beats Chandler, he's not immediately going to pivot to Joaquin Buckley. If he was just out here ready to fight anybody, then he wouldn't have made Michael Chandler sit out for like almost 2 years and get old and gray in a sense. I know he's not, but still. He's not going to do that. If he was just going to jump in there and fight anybody, there's any number of fighter he could have been jumped in there and done that. Conor's not going to do that. That's not the long game that Conor McGregor is playing. So he's not going to fight Joaquin Buckley. It was a waste of a call out. Any number of people Joaquin could have called out. You know what I'm saying? If anything, pivot, call out Ian Gary. You know what I'm saying? Get a name fight like that against a guy that you could probably go in there and whack, so to speak. Call out Dusty Kobe Covington. You know what I'm saying? You can go out there and wrestle Kobe Covington for 3 rounds. Kobe ain't the same Kobe that we used to know. You'll beat him and get him out of there. Any number of people. If go after Shavkat. Go after anybody. I believe Shavkat's going to fight JDM, but still, dude, go against anybody else. Don't waste your call out on somebody that's not going to fight you whatsoever and not even going to acknowledge you. Because now you got guys like me doing YouTube videos against you talking about that was a stupid call out. No one is looking at you like, oh man, good job on that call out. Anyway, let's move on. Next we have Carlos Alberg goes out there and makes short work of Alonzo Menifield. Quick work, like a 30-second knockout. I don't know. Menifield ran in. I guess he thought Carlos Alberg, because he's pretty, he wasn't about that life. Carlos Alberg showed him, I'm pretty and I'm about that life, and laid him out. Alonzo Menifield already been memed as making crazy faces, because when he got knocked out, it was one of those moments where if it was like a movie from the 90s, when he got laid out and Alonzo Menifield is scrambling trying to get back to his feet after he got knocked down, and he's making this face, he's like, and he's trying to get up. It was like a 90s movie where they would have paused the entire movie and you would have heard the voiceover. I bet you're wondering how I got here. It all started 2 years ago when I made the attempt to enter into mixed martial arts. Like one of those things, like, you know what I'm saying? It always starts with a guy getting messed up, getting hurt, car crash, getting shot at, something like that. And then it pauses and you get the voiceover. I bet you're wondering how I got here. Because that was exactly what was going on. Shout out to Carlos Alberg. He goes out there. Post-fight speech was a little rough. Carlos needs to work on his mic skills. That was a little rough. Didn't really connect. But nevertheless, shout out to him. He goes out there and gets a win. Puts City Kickboxing back in the winners column. Let's move on. How about Diego Ferreira with the performance of the night against Mateus Rebecki? Shout out to Diego Ferreira, 39 years old. I mean, homie got like 10 kids. No disrespect. I don't know if that's the exact number, but they was talking about that. Homie out here, he got bills to pay. He got a lot of children. He's trying to do his thing, man. Shout out to him. Rebecki didn't know that Diego Ferreira is really about that life. You know what I'm saying? Diego Ferreira, if I might say, perhaps could have that dog in him, because homie did not go out after that first round. It was like a 10-8, 10, it was a 10-something round. I mean, homie was beat from pillar to post and was clear he was about to be put out and lose at any moment. And then the second round began and Rebecki, gas tank was empty. Gas tank was on E. He was running on fumes. He didn't have nothing left. Shout out to Diego Ferreira. Goes out there, gets a win. Made Rebecki's face look like he had stuck his whole head into a beehive and just Just how many times can I get stung? Eyes was swollen, bloody. It was crazy, bro. Shout out to Ferreira. He goes out there and gets the win. How about Alex Caceres versus Sean Woodson? Sean Woodson gets the win here. I will say though, there is a case where you could almost argue, possibly you could argue, maybe you could argue that Alex Caceres won round 2 and round 3. I'm not sure. I'm cool with Sean Woodson getting the win, but there is a world where Bruce Leroy could have taken that. Anyway, shout out to Sean Woodson. He gets a win there, right there. Right there in his hometown. Let's move on. Waldo Cortez Acosta steps in there with Rebellis de Spain. Look, man, we ain't gonna go. I ain't gonna hold y'all. De Spain ain't got no ground game. Despain doesn't have the best fighter IQ. Despain laid there on the ground and looked dejected. Didn't know what to do. I mean, I believe they were even saying it on the commentary. But the reality is, if you're Rebellos Despain, it's like, bro, we know you got to stand up. We know you got the stand-up ability. We know you got the point fight karate ability. All you should have been working on in every one of your training camps, the only thing you should be working on is wrestling defense, takedown defense, scrambling, and getting back to your feet. You should just have guys in the gym spamming takedown after takedown after takedown, wall walk after wall walk, getting up, getting up, getting up. That's all you should be doing, bro. That's all I got to say. This man went out there and let Waldo Cortez Acosta get a win, which is just like... And really, to tell the truth, though, when I see a performance like that, he's so awkward and weird. It kind of... I'm not going to say I like Waldo, but I almost do, because he just like... It's like he's fighting in his own world. Like, the way he just... He dances, his opponents. He taunts them. He baits them in. He was talking to Despain's corner, yelling at him, like exchanging with them back and forth while he's beating up Despain on the ground. Wild stuff to see. Shout out to Waldo. He goes out there and gets the win. How about he's a man now? Chase Hooper goes out there and puts the boots to Slava Klaus, Borishev. Puts them hands on him, drops him. He dropped Slava Klaus, y'all. Dropped him. Had his way with him on the ground. Pause. I mean, bro, shout out to Chase Hooper. He did his thing. You know what I'm saying? Post-fight interview talking about he's got a wife, he's got a kid, he's got a kid on the way, or y'all newborn. Either way, Chase Hooper needs that check. He's going out there, he's fighting. Made a call out that was a very veiled, didn't give a name, but you could tell, made a call out of Patty Pimblett. But bro, shout out to Chase Hooper, goes out there, does work. Terrence McKinney. I don't know if you all heard, but on Saturday night, Terrence McKinney was the victim of a devastating crash. Not by a car, but devastating crash by a fist. Man ran headfirst into the fist of his opponent, being Rebovix, bro. And also, I don't know, prayers go up to Terrence McKinney. They need to try to set up a GoFundMe. The man, he lost his mind. His brain kind of detached from his spinal column. His cerebellum is not intact. You know what I'm saying? The man got dropped, fell up against the fence, and just started talking and giggling to himself. Man got knocked out. Man got knocked up against the fence, sat down, and started talking and giggling to himself like, I shouldn't have ate them Pop-Tarts the other day. I don't even know why I did that, man. I wish I still had some Uncrustables I could eat. I mean, bro, homie looked out of there. Shout out to Esteban Rebovix, who goes out there and gets the win. Next, we had Tabitha Ricci stepping in there with Tisha Pennington. Tabitha Ricci gets the win over Tisha Pennington. I don't know if I would have gave Tabitha that win. I mean, she definitely did have a lot of takedowns and control time, but not a lot of damage. I feel like Tisha Pennington was landing the more significant strikes when the fight was standing, but Nevertheless, Tabitha Ricci goes out there and gets the win. She moves forward. Billy Ray Goff in the fight of the night against Trey Waters. What a fight. What a fight. Trey Waters, though, I don't know what was going on, but I will say Trey Waters needs to reevaluate, I should say, his hands down style, hands down at his sides, as well as his gas tank. Because homie was gassed like halfway through the first round. So, shout out to Billy Goff. What a fight he put on. You know what I'm saying? Trey Waters gets the win, but Billy Goff, no joke. He put me on notice. I didn't know that he was that good. He definitely just... If Trey Waters didn't have all of that size and reach on him, Billy Goff for sure would have won this fight. And there's a case where he possibly still could have won the fight. Anyway, let's move on. How about Charles Johnson goes out there in his hometown in St. Louis and defeats Jake Hadley? Great fight. First round looked like your typical Charles Johnson round where he didn't really do a lot. Kind of takes an L, kind of gets beat up a lot. He turns up the pace in the second round, did his thing in the third, had an outstanding post-fight speech. I kind of like his angle that he's the best 5-round fighter, the best 5-round flyweight fighter in the UFC who is trying to learn how to fight in a 3-round structure. That was an awesome way to put it. And I could see that for him. That's probably explains why he takes pretty much the entire first round and most of the second round off. But shout out to him. He's going to have to adjust that, though, because, I don't know when you're going to get a 5-round fight anytime soon. Shout out to Charles Johnson, though. I was happy to see him get a win. I've always liked Charles Johnson, and I'm glad that he's right back in the winner's column. And last but not least, we had Veronica Hardy going out there and doing her thing against J.J. Aldridge. J.J. Aldridge really showed a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, had some good takedowns. But when they were on the feet, Hardy was lighting her up. Great kicks by Hardy. You could definitely tell, as I said in my preview to this fight, she's been hitting the weight room. She's been hitting the strength and conditioning. She looks strong. She looks solid. Outstanding. She had an emotional post-fight speech talking about Mother's Day and shouting out all the mothers of the world. She was very emotional. I didn't look this up, but it makes me wonder if possibly she's lost her mother recently, or if her mother could be sick, or possibly her husband, Dan Hardy. I'm not really sure if something's going on with either one of them's mother, but shout out to her. She was very emotional. I hope everything's all right, but I was glad to see her back in the win column. Shout out to Dan Hardy, showing he's a good, solid, all-around MMA coach. And if I lived in their region or in their area, I would probably be looking to, if he's that type of a coach, or he could, maybe he's only coaching his wife, but bro, I would reach out to Dan Hardy and try to get him to be my coach, because homie comes in with some solid game plans, and it seems like he could really be a good coach, if he had other people on his roster. But nevertheless, man, that was UFC St. Louis. It went down last Saturday night. Very interesting show that culminated with Derrick Lewis trying to get dollars put in his draws. Nevertheless, man, great card. I appreciate you guys for joining me for another episode. Please like, subscribe, comment. And so, only other thing to say is thank you for joining me for this episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.